You are most welcome to our other discussion. The discussion now at hand that we are about to start is on dangers of spiritual death. We have examined this topic in other sessions, and in this session we want to examine the dangers of spiritual death. I hope you are prepared. You have your pen and notebook, and you are spiritually ready. I believe you are not spiritually dead, so you can be able to survive the conversation and actually be able to take care of your spiritual life so that you do not experience spiritual death that we are talking about. So spiritual death refers to the state in which a person becomes disconnected from their spiritual beliefs, values, or sense of purpose. While the concept of spiritual death varies across different religious and philosophical traditions, its dangers are often seen as having profound implications for a person's well-being, both in this life and beyond. Some of the dangers associated with spiritual death include loss of purpose and meaning. Spiritual death can lead to a deep sense of purposelessness and existential crisis. Without a guiding spiritual framework, individuals may feel that life lacks deeper meaning, leading to feelings of emptiness, depression, and hopelessness. The loss of purpose and meaning is one of the most profound consequences of spiritual death, and it can have far-reaching effects on an individual's life. Spiritual beliefs and practices often provide a foundation for understanding one's place in the world, guiding decisions, and offering a sense of direction. When this connection is lost, it can result in a deep sense of emptiness and confusion. Now, these are the key ways the loss of purpose and meaning can manifest. Existential crisis. Without a sense of spiritual or existential purpose, a person may experience an existential crisis, where they question the meaning of life and their own role in it. This can lead to feelings of disillusionment, anxiety, and uncertainty. The individual might feel lost, unsure what to strive for, or whether their actions even matter in the grand scheme of things. Another manifestation is lack of motivation. When purpose and meaning are lost, daily tasks and long-term goals can seem meaningless. People may struggle with motivation to work, study, or pursue their passions, as they no longer see the point of investing effort into things that once seemed important. This can lead to stagnation and an overall decline in productivity and fulfillment. The other manifestation of loss of purpose and meaning due to spiritual death is depression and despair. The loss of purpose is strongly associated with depression, as it often leads to a feeling of emptiness or hopelessness. Without a sense of meaning, life can appear as a sense of monotonous or futile experiences. This emotional state can become overwhelming and lead to feelings of despair, where the individual believes that nothing in life will bring satisfaction or joy. Another manifestation is loss of direction. Spirituality often provides a framework for guiding decisions, setting goals, and determining what is truly important. When this connection is severed, it can result in a lack of direction in life. The person may find themselves adrift, making choices without a clear sense of purpose or intention, leading to a feeling of confusion about what steps to take next. Another manifestation is empty pursuits. Without a guiding sense of purpose, individuals may seek fulfillment in superficial or material pursuits. These empty goals, like chasing wealth, status, or fleeting pleasures, often fail to provide lasting satisfaction. People may find themselves accumulating possessions or achievements without ever feeling truly content, as they are disconnected from deeper, more meaningful goals. Another manifestation of this loss of purpose and meaning due to spiritual death is seen in the form of strained relationships. The loss of personal purpose and meaning can affect relationships. If an individual is no longer driven by shared values or a common spiritual foundation, they may become more isolated or detached from their loved ones. The disconnection from meaningful goals can make it difficult to bond with others and find common ground, resulting in feelings of loneliness or alienation. This can also be manifested by detachment from core values. Many people draw their sense of meaning from deep-held values such as compassion, kindness, justice, or love. Losing connections to spiritual beliefs or practices can lead to a detachment from these core values. This can cause internal conflict or a sense of moral ambiguity, where a person may struggle to discern right from wrong, good from bad, or meaningful from meaningless. Another manifestation of this loss of purpose and meaning due to spiritual death is fear of mortality. Spiritual beliefs often offer comfort regarding the inevitable realities of death and mortality, providing a larger context for the purpose of life. When spiritual meaning is lost, individuals may become overcome with the fear of death and the unknown. This fear can further amplify the sense of purposelessness, making life feel even more fragile and uncertain. Another manifestation is disconnection from transcendence. Transcendency. Many spiritual traditions teach that life's purpose transcends material existence and connects to something great, whether it is divine being, universal truth, or collective humanity. Without this connection, people may feel detached from transcendence, making it harder to find fulfillment beyond the self or beyond the material world. Finally, the loss of purpose and meaning can be manifested in the search for meaning in external sources. When spiritual meaning fades, people often try to find purpose through external sources such as success, fame, and validation from others. While these external sources might provide temporary relief, they tend to be fleeting and fail to satisfy the deeper needs for meaning and belonging that spirituality offers. The loss of purpose and meaning can be profoundly disorienting and destabilizing. It can create a sense of existential emptiness that, if left unresolved, may lead to emotional and psychological struggles such as depression, anxiety, and isolation. Reconnecting with one's spiritual beliefs, whether through religious faith, philosophy, or personal reflection, can help restore a sense of direction and purpose, leading to a more meaningful and fulfilling life. Now, spiritual death, another danger of spiritual death is emotional and mental struggles. A lack of spiritual connection can result in increased stress, anxiety, and mental health struggles. Spirituality often provides a sense of peace, grounding, and hope. And without it, a person may experience emotional instability or despair. The loss of spiritual connection or spiritual death can lead to significant emotional and mental struggles. Spirituality often provides individuals with a sense of inner peace, purpose, and clarity. When this connection is lost, it can create a void that makes it difficult to cope with life's challenges. Now, let us look at some of the key emotional and mental struggles that can arise when someone experiences spiritual death. One is depression. Depression is one of the most common emotional struggles linked to spiritual death. Without a spiritual framework, individuals may feel a profound sense of emptiness or hopelessness. The absence of meaning in life can make everyday activities seem meaningless or overwhelming, leading to a deeper emotional low. Depression can also lead to withdrawal from social interactions, further exacerbating feelings of isolation and disconnection. Another experience is the experience of anxiety. Spirituality often provides a sense of control, comfort, or trust in something greater than oneself, especially during times of uncertainty. When the spiritual foundation is lost, anxiety levels may increase significantly. Individuals may feel overwhelmed by the fear of the unknown, uncertainty about the future, or existential dread. Anxiety may manifest as chronic worry, fear, or mortality, or a constant sense of unease. We can also see this struggle in the form of sense of hopelessness. The loss of spiritual meaning can lead to a perverse sense of hopelessness. People may no longer feel that life holds any promise for improvement or fulfillment. This emotional state can make it difficult to set goals or believe that any effort will lead to positive change. Over time, this hopelessness can cause a person to feel stagnant and immobilized, unable to take action towards a more fulfilling life. Then we can see another struggle, emotional and mental struggle, in the form of increased stress. Spiritual practices such as meditation, prayer, and mindfulness can be important tools for managing stress. Without these practices, individuals may become more susceptible to physical and mental toil of stress. Chronic stress can affect mental clarity, emotional well-being, and even physical health. The inability to find solace or a sense of peace can make stress feel even more unmanageable. Loss of self-worth. Spiritual beliefs often contribute to an individual's sense of self-worth by emphasizing that the inherent value of each person as a child of a divine being, a part of a greater plan, or as a soul with a unique purpose. Without this sense of spiritual value, individuals may struggle with the feelings of inadequacy, guilty, or self-criticism. This loss can lead to a decline in self-esteem and an inability to appreciate one's own worth. Existential crisis. A loss of spiritual direction can spark an existential crisis where an individual questions the very nature of their existence. They may struggle with the questions like, why am I here? What is the purpose of life? Or what happens after I die? These profound questions can feel unsettling and destabilizing, leading to confusion, despair, and sometimes even loss of will to live. The other struggle is the struggle of cognitive dissonance, a mental struggle or emotional struggle related to cognitive dissonance. When a person loses their spiritual beliefs, it can create cognitive dissonance, a mental state of internal conflict. They may find themselves torn between past spiritual teachings and current doubts or disbeliefs. These mental tensions can create stress and confusion, making it difficult to integrate their new beliefs or lack thereof with the rest of their worldview. Another struggle is a struggle with anger and resentment. Some individuals who experience spiritual death may feel anger or resentment towards the beliefs or systems that once gave their life structure and meaning. This anger can arise from feelings of betrayal, confusion, or frustration about the loss of spiritual connection. In some cases, this anger might be directed towards others, e.g. religious institutions, family, or society, or towards the self, causing emotional turmoil. Another struggle is a struggle with isolation and loneliness. A loss of spiritual connection can often lead to isolation, both socially and emotionally. People may feel as if they no longer belong to the community or have shared values with those around them. This isolation can deepen the sense of disconnection and lead to emotional withdrawal, contributing to loneliness and feelings of being cut off from others. Additionally, when someone loses their spiritual practice, they may no longer feel that they can share their deeper thoughts or struggles with others, leading to further sense of emotional isolation. Lack of coping mechanisms. Spirituality often provides individuals with effective coping mechanisms for dealing with life's challenges, such as prayer, meditation, or seeking guidance from a higher power. When these mechanisms are lost, individuals may struggle to handle difficult emotions, trauma, or personal crisis. Without spiritual coping tools, they may resort to unhealthy habits like substance abuse or avoidance in an attempt to numb emotional pain. Fear of death. Many people, spirituality offers comfort regarding the afterlife and the nature of death. Without these beliefs, fear of death can become more pronounced. The uncertainty surrounding what happens after death can contribute to feelings of dread, anxiety, and even terror. The loss of a spiritual framework can make death seem like an insurmountable and a final end, leading to deep existential fear. Identity crisis. Spiritual beliefs often play a significant role in shaping an individual's sense of identity. When these beliefs are lost, a person may undergo an identity crisis, where they struggle to understand who they are and what they stand for. The crisis can lead to confusion, self-doubt, and difficult making decisions as the individual no longer has a clear spiritual or personal identity to rely on. The emotional and mental struggles that arise from spiritual death can be profound and wide-ranging. These struggles often stem from a loss of meaning, purpose, and connection to something greater than oneself. The absence of spiritual guidance can make life feel overwhelming, confusing, and purposeless. Addressing these struggles often requires exploring new values, new avenues for meaning, finding alternative coping mechanisms, and reconnecting with sources of hope and inner peace. Whether through new spiritual beliefs, philosophy, or personal growth, seeking professional mental health support can also be crucial in navigating these challenges. Another danger, as we have talked about, is the danger of alienation. Spiritual death can cause individuals to feel isolated from others, especially if their spiritual beliefs or practices are central to their sense of community. The isolation can lead to loneliness even if someone is surrounded by people. The loss of moral compass is another danger of spiritual death. Spiritual death may cause a person to lose sight of the moral values and ethical principles that once guided their action. Without spiritual belief to rely on, individuals might become more susceptible to self-centered behavior, dishonesty, and unethical choices. Lack of compassion and empathy is another danger of spiritual death. Spiritual teachings often promote compassion, empathy, and kindness towards others. A person experiencing spiritual death might become less empathetic, less absorbed, or indifferent to the suffering of others, which can harm relationships and societal well-being. The lack of compassion and empathy is a significant emotional and social consequence of spiritual death. Spiritual beliefs and practices often serve as a foundation for developing empathy and compassion towards others, promoting understanding, kindness, and selflessness. When an individual experiences spiritual disconnection or death, these essential emotional qualities can diminish or become distorted. Here's how this lack of compassion and empathy can manifest and the dangers it poses. Self-centeredness and indifference. One of the key effects of loss of spiritual connection is a shift towards self-centeredness. Without a spiritual framework, the emphasis that emphasizes love, kindness, or service to others, individuals may become more focused on their own desires, needs, and struggles, neglecting the feeling and needs of those around them. This can lead to a diminished sense of empathy, making it harder to understand or care about the emotional states or hardship of others. Emotional detachment. Spirituality often encourages individuals to connect with others emotionally, fostering a sense of shared humanity and compassion. Without these spiritual practices or beliefs, people can become emotionally detached. They may struggle to form meaningful emotional bonds or feel distance from the suffering of others. This emotional coldness can lead to apathy, where the emotional experience of others, including their pain or joy, are no longer impactful. There is also the danger of increased judgmental attitudes. Spirituality frequently promotes understanding, forgiveness, and a judgmental attitude. The loss of these spiritual values can lead to an increased judgmental attitude. Without the understanding that everyone has a unique journey or a set of circumstances, individuals may become more critical or dismissive of others. This can manifest as harsh judgment, intolerance, or a lack of patience for people who are struggling. Another danger is difficulty in forming healthy relationships. Empathy and compassion are essential for healthy reciprocal relationships. Without these qualities, it becomes harder to connect with others on a deeper, meaningful level. The lack of spiritual guidance can make someone less attuned to the emotional needs of their loved ones, leading to shallow relationships that lack the emotional depth necessary to form long-term connection. This can strain friendships, romantic relationships, and family bonds. We see another danger in increased conflict and hostility. When compassion and empathy are absent, individuals are more likely to engage in conflict and hostility. They may find it harder to resolve disagreement with kindness or mutual understanding, which can escalate into arguments or even aggressive behavior. A lack of empathy leads to a lack of effort in seeing the other person's perspective, which fosters resentment and disconnection. Diminished altruism. When many spiritual practices emphasize the importance of selflessness and service to others. Without this spiritual teaching, the motivation to help others or act altruistically can fade. Altruism is replaced by self-interest, when individuals prioritize their own well-being over the needs of others. This lack of compassion for others can lead to a more selfish and less cooperative society. Now, the struggle with forgiveness. Compassion and empathy are key components of forgiveness. A person who lacks these qualities may struggle to forgive others for perceived wrongs, holding on to grudges or resentment. Without a spiritual practice that emphasizes letting go of past hurts and offering forgiveness, a person may feel trapped in cycles of bitterness or anger, which hinder emotional healing and growth. There is also reduced awareness of the suffering of others. Spirituality often encourages individuals to recognize the suffering of others, whether it be physical, emotional, or spiritual. A person disconnected from their spiritual life may develop a reduced awareness of this suffering. They may fail to notice or care about the struggle of others, making it harder to offer support or act in a compassionate way. This can lead to neglect or the perpetuation of suffering, especially for those who are vulnerable. Another problem is spirituality often teaches individuals to be patient and understanding, recognizing that everyone is on their own path and may be going through difficult times. Without this guidance, individuals may lack patience to understand the struggles of others, viewing them through a more critical or impatient lens. This impatience can hinder meaningful communication and create rifts between people as they feel misunderstood or unsupported. They have a lack of patience and understanding. Exploitation and lack of responsibility. In extreme cases, the lack of compassion can lead to exploitation of others, as these individuals no longer feel morally responsible to care for or support those in need. Without spiritual teachings that emphasize caring for others or the concept of interconnectedness, people might be more likely to take advantage of others for personal gain. This leads to unethical behavior and erosion of societal responsibility, further deepening societal divisions. Inability to heal from personal trauma. Empathy and compassion are also crucial in the healing process from personal trauma. A loss of these qualities can make it more difficult for individuals to process their own suffering in a healthy way. Without the ability to nurture themselves with kindness, to seek understanding from others, individuals may struggle to recover from emotional wounds, potentially leading to prolonged suffering and difficulty finding peace. Spiritual barrenness. When someone experiences spiritual death, they might feel a profound sense of spiritual barrenness, a lack of emotional connection to the world around them. This state often leads to apathy, where the individual feels disconnected from the broader human experience and unable to relate to others. The absence of spiritual compassion can leave them feeling cold, alone, and detached from both their own feelings and the experience of those around them. The lack of compassion and empathy due to spiritual death has wide-reaching effects on both individuals and the broader community. Without the foundational sense of love, interconnectedness, understanding that many spiritual paths promote, people can become self-centered, judgmental, and disconnected from others' struggles. This erosion of compassion not only harms relationships, but also contributes to a lack of support for those who are vulnerable or in need. Reconnecting with other spiritual values, whether through religion, philosophy, or personal growth, can help restore empathy and compassion, fostering healthier relationships and a more supportive society. Spiritual death results in strained relationships. If a person's spirituality or faith was an important aspect of their relationship, a loss of spiritual connection can strain marriages, friendships, and family dynamics. The shared values that once created unity may become sources of tension or division. Spiritual barrenness and despair are other dangers related to spiritual death. Spiritual death can lead to a sense of spiritual barrenness, where individuals feel disconnected not just from a particular belief system, but from any sense of the sacred or transcendent. This despair can make it difficult to find solace in moments of hardships or loss. Detachment from higher goals. Many spiritual paths emphasizes the pursuit of higher goals, whether it be enlightenment, moral development, or connection with the divine. Without these goals, a person may lose direction and focus on purely material pursuits, which may not provide long-term fulfillment. So, decreased resilience in the face of adversity. Spiritual beliefs often provide strength and resilience in times of suffering, loss, or challenge. Those who experience spiritual death may struggle to find the inner strength to cope with life's difficulties, leading to a higher risk of giving up or engaging in self-destructive behavior. Finally, fear of the unknown or afterlife. In many traditions, spiritual life is closely tied to beliefs about the afterlife or the external nature of the soul. Spiritual death might trigger fear of the unknown or uncertainty about what happens after death, leading to anxiety or existential dread. While spiritual death is not always a literal, irreversible state, its dangers are deeply psychological and emotional. Reconnecting with one's spiritual beliefs, practices, or values, seeking community, and addressing spiritual concerns can be key steps in preventing or overcoming these dangers. Amen.